Comcast.
Yes.
The stream is starting up.
That exists. That's the problem.
Oh, it still says hardcore series that I'm playing Minecraft. That is not accurate at all. Reading with com.
If you start getting people to actually watch.
Larry Porter and the Two Towers.
Larry Porter and the Two Towers.
Not a very good subject.
Reading. Oh, reading is an option on Beam as like a game.
Damn.
Okay, we're reading. Larry Porter and the Two Towers.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I
Okay.
hate big people can hit me now.
All right. Wait, can I make this full screen? Is that a thing on the Kindle app? It does not appear to be. I don't think I can just do F11, right? Oh, okay.
How did you get that?
Okay. All right. No fancy intro.
Getting straight into it.
All right. Chapter 1.
Ah!
God damn it!
Damn it, Forster.
Yes! It had to happen.
Forster should do that for every chapter. As soon as he says the chapter.
No, I'll stop now. I'm trying to stop.
You better stop it. Chapter 1? The boy who lived?
Ah.
Wait for it, wait for it.
People are being quiet now.
Yeah, because you told us to.
Just start reading Harry Potter.
Start reading!
I expected Forrester to just start.
Ah!
There you
There it
go.
is.
There you go. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much. They were the last people you would expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious because they didn't hold that such little.
What? I'm not...
Because they just didn't hold
Don't
with
read
such
it
nonsense.
So fast. Read it nice and slow. Fuck it out.
Yeah, seriously, slow down, man.
Mr.
Tell me about the
Dursley
Durkleys
was the
in a
director of
slower
a firm called Grunnings, which made drills. He was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large mustache. Mrs. Dursley was thin and blonde, and had nearly twice the usual amount of neck, which came in very useful as she spent so much of her time craning over garden fences, spying on the neighbors. The Dursleys had a small son called Dudley, and their opinion there was... Ugh. And in their opinion, there was no finer boy anywhere. The Dursleys had everything they wanted, but they also had a secret, and their greatest fear was that somebody would discover it. They didn't think that they could bear it if anyone found out about the Potters. Mrs. Potter was Mrs. Dursley's sister, but they hadn't met in several years. In fact, Mrs. Dursley pretended that she didn't have a sister, because her sister and her good-for-nothing husband were as un-Dursley-ish as it was possible to be. The Dursleys shuddered to think what the neighbors would say if the Potters arrived in the street. The Dursleys knew that the Potters had a small son too, but they had never ever even seen him. This boy was another good reason for keeping the Potters away. They didn't want Dudley mixing with any child like that. When... Shit!
Forster!
Who's playing music?
Come on!
You're ruining it!
My phone rang.
Look!
Phone rang. My phone rang.
Hold on, I gotta take a drink already.
You just ruined the whole entire experience.
I'll go kill yourself.
I was really,
Okay,
I was really immersed in it too. When Mr. and Mrs. Dursley woke up on a dull gray Tuesday, our story starts, and there's nothing about the cloudy sky outside to suggest that strange and mysterious things would soon be happening all over the country. Mr. Dursley hummed as he picked out his most boring tie for work, and Mrs. Dursley gossiped away happily as she wrestled a screaming Dudley into his high chair. None of them noticed a large, tawny owl flutter past the window. At 8:30, Mr. Dursley picked up his briefcase, pecked Mrs. Dursley on the cheek, and tried to kiss Dudley goodbye, but missed, because Dudley was now having a tantrum and throwing his cereal at the walls. Little tyke, chortled Mr. Dursley as he left the house. He got into his car and backed out of number 4's drive. It was on the corner of the street where he first noticed the sign of something peculiar, a cat reading a map. For a second, Mr. Dursley didn't realize what he had seen, but then he jerked his head around to look again. There was a tabby cat standing on the corner of Privet Drive, but there wasn't a map in sight. What could he been thinking of? It must have been a trick of the light. Mr. Dursley blinked and stared at the cat. It stared back. As Mr. Dursley drove around the corner and up the road, he watched the cat in his mirror. It was now reading the sign that said Privet Drive.
Excuse me.
No, looking at the sign. Cats couldn't read signs or maps. Mr. Dursley gave himself a little shake and put the cat out of his mind. As he drove toward the town, he thought nothing except a large order of drills he was hoping to get that day. But on the edge of town, drills were driven out of his mind by something else. As he sat in the usual morning traffic jam, he couldn't help but noticing that there seemed to be a lot of strangely dressed people about. People in cloaks. Mr. Dursley couldn't bear people who dressed in funny clothes, but the get-ups you saw in young people.
Forster! Come on, dude!
Jeez! Jeez! We're not even 2 pages in!
Really? I'm already getting bored.
Hey, this was written by your people.
I know, but still.
By your people, racist.
Fine, we're done. We're done with it.
Oh,
No! Come on!
He supposed this was some stupid new fashion. He drummed his fingers on the steering wheel, and his eyes fell on the huddle of these weirdos standing quite close by. They were whispering excitedly together. Mr. Dursley was enraged to see that a couple of them weren't young at all. Why, that man had to be older than he was, wearing an emerald green cloak. The nerve of him! But then it struck Mr. Dursley that this was probably some silly stunt. These people were obviously collecting for something. Yes, that would be it. The traffic moved on, and a few minutes later, Mr. Dursley arrived at the Grunnings parking lot, his mind back on drills. Mr. Dursley always sat with his back to the window in his office on the 9th floor. If he hadn't, he might have found it harder to concentrate on drills that morning. He didn't see any owls swooping past in broad daylight, though people down in the street did, and they pointed and gazed open-mouthed as owl after owl sped overhead. Most of them had never seen an owl even at nighttime. Mr. Dursley, however, had a perfectly normal owl-free morning. He yelled at 5 different people, he made several important telephone calls, and shouted a bit more. He was in a very good mood until lunchtime, when he thought he'd stretch his legs and walk across the road to buy himself a bun from the bakery. He had forgotten about the people in cloaks until he passed a group of them next to the baker's. He eyed them angrily as he passed. He didn't know why, but they made him uneasy. This bunch was whispering excitedly too, and he couldn't see a single collecting tin. It was on his way back past them, clutching a large donut in a bag, that he caught a few words that they were saying. The Potters, that's right, that's what I heard. Yes, their son, Harry. Mr. Dursley stopped dead. Fear flooded him. He looked back at the whisperers as if he wanted to say something to them, but he thought better of it. He dashed back across the road, hurried up to his office, snapped at his secretary not to disturb him, seized his telephone, and had almost finished dialing his phone number when he changed his mind. He put the receiver back down and stroked his mustache, thinking, no, he was being stupid. Potter wasn't such an unusual name. He was sure there was lots of people called Potter who had a son called Harry. Come to think of it, he wasn't even sure that his nephew was called Harry. He had never seen the boy. It might have been Harvey or Harold. There's no point in worrying Mrs. Dursley. She had got so upset at any mention of her sister. What the?
Really, the Harry Potter Really?
He didn't blame her if he had a sister like that, but all the same, those people in cloaks. He found it harder to concentrate on drills that afternoon, and when he left the building at 5 o'clock, he was still so worried that he walked straight into someone just outside the door.
Turn the Potter song off!
Jeez!
Forster!
Play the Gravity Falls theme.
No, please don't.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh my god. You guys are crazy. Everybody's crazy.
I'm actually enjoying this for once.
Sorry, he grunted as the tiny old man stumbled and almost fell. It was a few seconds before Mr. Dursley realized that the man was wearing a violet cloak. He didn't seem at all upset about being almost knocked into the ground. On the contrary, his face split into a wide smile, and he said in a squeaky voice that made passerby stare, "Don't you worry, my dear sir, for nothing could upset me today. Rejoice, for you know who has gone at last. Even buggles like yourself should be celebrating this happy, happy day." What
happened
was
to
that pretty
your
good?
voice?
Did you like that?
That was fucking hilarious. Stig, why do you want to teleport to me?
Cause I need to get to the Nether Fortress.
That was my squeaky voice. Anyway, and the old man hugged Mr. Dursley around the middle and walked off. Mr. Dursley stood rooted to the spot.
Why
He had
didn't you
been
just
hugged
warp
by
to
a
spawn and
complete
go to the
stranger. He also thought that he had been called a muggle, whatever that was. He was rattled. He hurried to his car and set off for home, hoping he wasn't imagining things, which he had never hoped before because he didn't approve of imagination. As he pulled into the driveway of number 4, the first thing he saw, and it didn't improve his mood, was the tabby cat he had spotted that morning. It was now sitting on his garden wall. He was sure it was the same one. It had the same markings around the eyes. "Shoo!" said Mr. Dursley loudly. The cat didn't move. It just gave him a stern look. Was this normal cat behavior? Mr. Dursley wondered. Trying to pull himself together, he let himself into the house. He was still determined not to mention anything to his wife. Mrs. Dursley had had a nice, normal day. She had told him over dinner all about Mrs. Next Door's problems with her daughter and how Dudley had learned a new word. Won't. Mr. Dursley tried to act normally. When Dudley had been put to bed, he went into the living room in time to catch the last report on the evening news. And finally, bird watchers everywhere have reported that the nation's owls have been behaving very unusually today. Although owls normally hunt at night and are hardly ever seen in the daylight, there have been hundreds of sightings of these birds flying in every direction since sunrise.
Are you burping into a Pringles can?
No, he's playing the fart tunes.
Can we please get on? Are you still live streaming?
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ!
How many people are watching?
Can you people stop? Like we're trying to enjoy
Don't
a
say
book
you
right
people,
now.
you racist!
We're trying to listen to Comstock read a book. It's nice and soothing. We're all relaxed.
Jeez. Except for Forrester, he's just trying to mess it up here.
Nothing soothing.
I'll soothe you. I will soothe you. I don't remember where I was. Oh, about the birds.
Yeah.
Experts are unable to explain why the owls have suddenly changed their sleeping pattern. The newscaster allowed himself a grin. Most mysterious, and now over to Jim McGuffin with the weather. Going to be any more showers tonight? Showers of owls tonight, Jim? Well, Ted, said the weatherman. I don't know about that, but it's not only the owls have been acting oddly today. Viewers as far apart as Kent, Yorkshire, and Dundee have been phoning in to tell me that...
Not Yorkshire. Yorkshire.
What?
It's Yorkshire.
It's Yorkshire.
Not Yorkshire.
So what? Us Americans say it differently.
Well, I'm glad it's Yorkshire.
It annoys me.
There is a...
It really annoys me.
So wait, so S-H-I-R-E.
It's sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then why isn't it S-U-R-E?
Like, similar to...
That's not how you spell it!
Because that's not how you spell sure.
That's retarded.
So,
No, it's not.
so...
It's
The way you guys pronounce words
Wait,
is retarded.
so S-H-I-R...
Speak, so
Wait.
fuck-
Shire.
Hold on. So,
No, Yorkshire.
S-H-I-R-E is
It's sure.
sure,
Yeah.
and S-U-R-E is sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'm still probably... Well, I mean, think about Lord of the Rings. The Shire?
Still.
Shire is spelled how it's spelled in the book. So.
Are you sure it's Shire?
It's not how the words are spelled, it's the words how they're pronounced. It's different.
Yeah.
So it's Yorkshire. Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire, that's like one of the words.
Kent,
Yeah, the question is,
Yorkshire.
are you sure it's Shire or are you Shire sure? What?
I don't know. I'm confused now.
Yorkshire.
I'm probably going to get that wrong if it comes up again, just so you know.
It's spelled Yorkshire, but it's pronounced Yorkshire.
Why
See,
is Fred Boat here?
At least he admits it. That's because he won't stop playing music during this.
Lily was listening to him.
Not me.
Not me, says the person
Chaos, we're
that
trying
it
to
is.
read. Don't
Hey,
bring Fred
we're
Boat here.
we're already 3% through the book, guys. It's fine.
Oh wow! Yay!
3%, and we've only been going for like not that long.
How long?
We've been sitting here for like 5 minutes.
Well, I've been live for about 14 minutes, but
Oh.
Wait, what?
yeah, I've been live for like 15 minutes now. But, you know, I keep getting interrupted by assholes like Forrester.
What was that?
I don't even know what was I saying? Oh, that instead of the rain I promised yesterday, they've had a downpour of shooting stars. Perhaps people have been celebrating Bonfire Night early. What's Bonfire Night? Is that a thing?
Yes, it is. It's when Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament. It's an English thing.
We
Oh.
celebrate the. Yes.
Oh my!
You guys all. Mike's dying again.
Oh my god.
That was
Continue.
obnoxious.
That's Mike
Basically-
dying.
It's in March. No, it's in November, isn't it? I can't remember when it is. But it's when everyone has fireworks and stuff like that.
So it's like
Sweet.
your 4th of July.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Except for it's occasion of someone blowing up Parliament.
Who is in the bathroom echoing?
That'd be Forrester with his new voice changer.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
did you get that?
Ow!
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
All right, someone's getting muted.
Ow!
All right, he has been muted. For
Okay,
me.
he's muted.
He's muted for me. I can't mute him for you guys.
I've muted him for me.
Yeah,
I muted him for me also.
that was obnoxious.
Really obnoxious.
Oh, wait,
Go
so-
back to the book.
It's so much more quiet now.
Back to the book.
Oh no, we were talking about Bonfire Night. Or did
Yeah.
you say everything you knew?
Basically, it's to celebrate.
God damn it, I have to mute Fred
Someone
Boat.
get Fred Boat out of here.
I muted Fred Boat.
It's people celebrating someone trying to blow up Parliament.
But why would you want to celebrate that?
Because it's like he put loads of gunpowder in the bottom of underneath Parliament in the basement, and
What are
It
you
just, like-
saying?
Isn't
It
that
set up a
kind of
massive
the storyline for
Oh my god, Forrester, shut the.
what the hell? Isn't that the storyline for that one movie though? Like,
I just had to mute Forrester as well. My god.
what is that movie called? The one that's like, remember the 5th of November thing. Like, didn't they do something
yeah,
like that too?
remember
Sharknado?
the 5th of November?
Yeah, isn't that kind of isn't that the basis of that too? Kind of?
Yeah,
Sort of?
So you're not talking about Sharknado.
no.
No, definitely not.
We're talking about Bonfire Night.
Nobody ever speaks of Sharknado again.
Basically,
Oh
it
my
celebrates,
God,
like,
I
the
need
death of
help
Guy
right
Fawkes,
now.
I think. 'Cause
Why?
Guy Fawkes died on that night, and he was like a major criminal, I think.
I need help right now.
Well, I'll
There
look,
isn't
I'll
an-
research it.
In front of me, there is an infernal wither skeleton. And
Ha, loser.
That's
so
obnoxious.
whose house am I spawning a wither in?
No idea. Probably mine.
You don't have a house. I destroyed it.
You destroyed it with my permission.
Guy Fawkes Night is also known as Guy Fawkes Day, Bonfire Night, and Bonfire.
I am
Annually
unmuting
commemorated
Forrester for
observing
me.
the 5th of November in Britain.
Alright, Forrester, speak.
He's gonna get pissed that we all muted him.
Yeah.
Forrester,
Is-
you can. I have my volume up for you.
There are small fireworks parties in the backyards among people in Britain.
If you're saying something, Forrester, I can't hear you.
So that's why they compared it. Okay.
Yeah.
They talked about the downpour shooting stars. Perhaps people have been celebrating Bonfire Night early. It's not until next
Yeah,
week.
it'd be like fireworks. It's like fireworks.
And there you go.
Yeah.
It's not until next week, folks, but I can promise a wet night tonight. That sounds perverted. Mr. Dursley sat frozen in his armchair, shooting stars all over
So
Britain.
does Mr. Durkee having drilling on his mind all
Does
day.
it? Oh my god.
Did you say Durkee?
Yeah, he did.
What the hell is that?
Dursley.
Durkley is his name?
Forrest,
Dursley.
You're offending her. It's her people.
don't. I'm giving you guys a tip now. Do not unmute Forrest.
I'm
I
not.
already did it. I
Stupid
already
voice
did it.
changer. He still has it on.
Oh my god, Forrester!
Oh my
Why is he
God.
wanting to ear rape people though? That's not cool. Anyway. Where was I? I don't even know. Mr. Dursley sat frozen in his armchair, shooting stars all over Britain, owls
Mr.
flying
Guppy?
by daylight, mysterious people in cloaks all over the place, and a whisper about the Potters. Mrs. Dursley came into the living room carrying 2 cups of tea. It was no good. He'd have to say something to her. He cleared his throat nervously. Petunia dear, you haven't heard from your sister lately, have you?
All right, Forrester.
Are you letting him back in?
No, just he wants to test
Anyway,
something.
we can't hear him because you've muted him.
Yeah, that's true. I did.
I unmuted
he
him.
changed his voice changer to
Shh,
see if it works.
shut up.
As he expected,
and
Mrs. Dursley looked shocked
it
and
kind
angry.
of works.
After
Forrester.
all, they normally
Kind of.
pretended that she didn't have a sister. No, she said sharply. Why? Funny stuff on the news, Mr. Dursley mumbled. Owls, shooting stars, and there were a lot of funny-looking people in town today.
Forrester, right now your voice sounds like a chipmunk,
Don't kill
but
me.
slightly lower pitched.
I need Forrester's help with the wither.
Yeah, well, he's not coming on. Don't, please, don't.
Look, 3 wither skeleton skulls and 4 soul sand. I need someone's help to
You
kill
sound
this
like
thing.
those videos of those cats. No. You sound like those videos of those dogs that can actually like sound like they're saying human words.
Right, I've got to quickly go for like 2 seconds because I think my parents just called me.
I'm muting you again, Forrester.
Forrester. Okay, Forrester said he'll stop. But Forrester, I need your help with the wither. Oh my, Forrester! I'm going to mute you. I need your help.
I thought you said he was better now.
I thought he was. He said he was gonna stop.
Nice and clean. How do I sound now?
You sound normal.
You sound normal.
Okay, good. I sound normal.
So Forrester, what voice changer are you using, and where can I get it?
I just downloaded it off the website.
Here, send me the link to the website then.
I don't know. I can't remember the website. I just typed
Forrester-
in voice changer. I clicked on the first link.
Well, I need your help with this wither. Get online so you can help me with this wither.
All I know is this reading stream is a disaster.
I got a
It's be-
question. Okay, I got a question. How does this one sound?
Hello,
Well,
my name-
Disasters are usually hilarious. So
What do I sound like now?
You sound like a fat person that has like
Right.
30,000 double chins.
Well, actually, okay, if I turn the full volume, how does it sound now?
would that be 60,000 chins?
That sound better now? Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute you again.
Oh
Looks
god.
like I'm doing this wither
Yep.
by myself.
Yep, he's getting muted again. Yeah, that was bad.
Looks like I'm doing the wither by myself.
That was so bad. Wait. No, wait, what? Wait, he knows, right?
This is gonna be hard as balls.
Okay.
I
It-
really don't want to do this, but
It's hard as balls.
What is happening?
I'm fighting a wither.
I'm trying to accomplish something here, and nobody is allowing me to accomplish it. All right.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
I don't even remember where I was at. What's nice?
I think you
Oh,
read something about Pornhub.
What?
What?
You're a bit
What?
staticky.
Your face is staticky.
What the fudge?
Are you still listening to him? I muted him.
My gosh, your voice is not.
I
That's not normal.
I muted him. He was like ear
We
raping.
all muted him.
He was ear raping us like constantly.
How is this ear rape? This is pleasant to the ear.
No, it was ear rape before.
Yeah.
Do it now. Do it now. I die you.
We all have him
Do it.
muted.
Do it now.
I want him to ear rape. I want to do the ear rape.
And right now we're trying to do a stream of Harry Potter reading.
Yeah, I'm trying to read Harry Potter here. Come on. Seriously.
This is.
I'm serious. I'm streaming right now.
He is streaming right now, Fire. He's been streaming for the past like 30 minutes.
Yeah, or so.
Abby.
What?
The stream is titled Reading with Com, Larry Porter and the Two Towers.
Best version of the stream
You
right
sound
there.
normal right now.
Oh, you know, if I would have just clicked bonfire night, it would like tell me what it is.
You sound like an evil monster that wants to ear rape everybody.
Hey, can we get back to the book?
Yeah.
Or I'm about to
Shoot.
create a whole entire new Discord channel and invite Com, Abby, and Mike, and that's it.
Oh, what about Justin?
No,
No, Justin.
you're just ruining the whole experience.
He's one of the mods on my channel.
He just disconnected, so did Forrester.
They both.
I think Forrester probably private called him.
No, they're in the other chat down in the guard one.
Oh, the Spectre guard
Yeah.
or the Spectre guard.
Hold on. I'm gonna go sneak in on them.
You sound like you're waiting for 100. I don't.
Oh, frick. Jeez. What the hell was that? I go over there and it's just screaming instantly. That was obnoxious.
Just stop.
That was obnoxious. I was like getting ear raped. Oop. I didn't mean to hit that. I meant to hit that.
Did you just end the stream?
No, I'm still going.
Good.
At least,
I'm gonna leave Discord.
at least it should be. Okay. So they're talking about the stuff, talking about the people, talking about her sister. Well, I just thought maybe it has something to do with, her crowd. Mrs. Dursley sipped her tea through her pursed lips. Mr. Dursley wondered whether he dared to tell her he had heard the name Potter. He didn't dare. Instead, he said as casually as he could, "Their son. He'd be about Dudley's age now, wouldn't he?" "I suppose so," said Mrs. Dursley stiffly. "What's his name again? Howard, isn't it?" "Harry. Nasty common name, if you ask me." "Oh, yes," said Mr. Dursley, his heart sinking horribly. "Yes, I quite agree." He didn't say another word on the subject as they went upstairs to bed. While Mrs. Dursley was in the bathroom, Mr. Dursley crept into the bedroom window and peered into the front garden.
Forrester's normal now.
Is he normal?
Yes.
But for how long?
He's never normal.
God damn it. Hold on.
No, we're trying to do a Harry Potter reading, but no, we can't because of you.
Please. You can do anything you want. You just gotta believe.
Oh my god.
Can we like murder Mike?
Can we just murder, like, most of the people here? Murder is legal now, right? We live in a Trump nation.
I wouldn't say that on stream.
Obviously joking. BT dubs.
Sure.
Sure, you're totally joking.
Just like you were joking about how you told us that story about when you robbed the bank. Remember that?
Wait, who robbed a bank?
You did.
You did.
Remember?
I never say anything about robbing a bank.
You told us a story about it.
What? You're trying to frame me. I see how it is.
He robbed Fort Knox of all its gold.
Who would want to frame your beautiful voice?
You would, because you're trying to right now.
What? Okay, can we get back to the book?
Sure, why not? He didn't say another word on the subject as they went upstairs to bed. While Mrs. Dursley was in the bathroom, Mr. Dursley crept to the bedroom window and peered down into the front garden. The cat was still there. It was staring down Privet Drive as though it was waiting for something. Was he imagining things? Could all this have anything to do with the Potters? If it did, if it got out that they were related to a pair of, well, he didn't think he could bear it.
I bet it has something to do with Pop, not the Potters.
The Dursleys got into bed. Mrs. Dursley fell asleep quickly, but Mr. Dursley lay awake, turning it all over in his mind. His last comforting thought before he fell asleep was that even if the Potters were involved, there was no reason for them to come near him and Mrs. Dursley. The Potters knew very well that he and Petunia thought about them and their kind. He couldn't see how he and Petunia could get mixed up in anything that might be going on. He yawned and turned over. It couldn't affect them. How very wrong he was. Mr. Dursley might have been drifting into an uneasy sleep, but the cat on the wall outside was showing no sign of sleepiness. It was sitting as still as a statue, its eyes fixed unblinkingly on the far corner of Privet Drive. It didn't so much as quiver when a car door slammed on the next street, nor when two owls swooped overhead. In fact, it was nearly midnight before the cat moved at all.
Hey, that's my cat's name.
A man appeared on the corner the cat had been watching, appeared so suddenly and silently you'd have thought he'd just popped out of the ground. The cat's tail twitched and its eyes narrowed. Nothing like this man had ever been seen on Privet Drive. He was tall, thin, and very old, judging by the silver of his hair and beard, which were both long enough to tuck into his belt. He was wearing long robes, a purple cloak that swept the ground, and high-heeled, buckled boots. His blue eyes...
Is he missing a nose?
His blue eyes were light, bright, and sparkling behind half-moon spectacles, and his nose was very long and crooked, as though it had been broken at least twice. This man's name was Albus Dumbledore. Albus Dumbledore didn't seem to realize that he had just arrived in a street where everything from his name to his boots was unwelcome. He was busy rummaging in his cloak, looking for something, but he did seem to realize that he was being watched, because he looked up suddenly at the cat, which was still staring at him from the other end of the street. For some reason, the sight of the cat seemed to amuse him. He chuckled and muttered, "I should have known." He found what he was looking for in his inside pocket. It seemed to be a silver cigarette lighter. He flicked it open, held it up in the air, and clicked it. The nearest street lamp went out with a little pop. He clicked it again, and the next lamp flickered into darkness. 12 times he clicked the put-outer, until the only lights left on the street were two tiny pinpricks in the distance, which were the eyes of the cat watching him. If anyone looked out their window now, even beady-eyed Mrs. Dursley, they wouldn't be able to see anything that was happening down on the pavement. Dumbledore slipped the put-outer back inside his cloak and set off down the street toward number 4, where he sat down on the wall next to the cat. He didn't look at it, but after a moment he spoke to it. "Fancy seeing you here, Professor McGonagall." He turned to smile at the tabby, but it had gone. Instead, he was smiling at a rather severe-looking woman who was wearing square glasses exactly the shape of the markings the cat had around its eyes. She, too, was wearing a cloak, an emerald one. Her black hair was drawn into a tight bun. She looked distinctly ruffled. "How did you know it was me?" she asked. "My dear Professor, I've never seen a cat sit so stiffly." "You'd be stiff if you'd been sitting on a brick wall all day," said Professor McGonagall. "All day? When you could have been celebrating? I must have passed a dozen feasts and parties on my way here." Professor McGonagall sniffed angrily. "Oh yes, everyone's celebrating all right," she said impatiently. "You'd think they'd be a bit more careful, but no, even the Muggles have noticed something's going on. It was on their news." She jerked her head back at the Dursleys' dark living room window. "I heard it. Flocks of owls? Shooting stars? Well, they're not completely stupid. They were bound to notice something. Shooting stars down at Kent? I'll bet that was the Dallas Diggle. He never had much sense." "You can't blame them," said Dumbledore gently. We've had precious little to celebrate for 11 years. "I know that," said Professor McGonagall irritably, "but there's no reason to lose our heads. People are being downright careless, out on the streets in broad daylight, not even dressed in Muggle clothes, swapping rumors." She threw a sharp sideways glance at Dumbledore here, as though hoping he was going to tell her something, but he didn't, so she went on. "A fine thing it would be if, on the very day you-know-who seems to have disappeared at last, the Muggles found out about us all. I suppose he really has gone, Dumbledore." "It certainly seems so," said Dumbledore. We have much to be thankful for. What would you care for a lemon drop?" "A what?" "A lemon drop. They're kind of a Muggle sweet that I'm rather fond of." "No, thank you," said Professor McGonagall coldly, as though she didn't think this was the moment for lemon drops. "As I say, even if you-know-who has gone. My dear Professor, surely a sensible person like yourself can call him by his real name. All this you-know-who nonsense, for 11 years I've been trying to persuade people to call him by his proper name, Voldemort." Professor McGonagall flinched, but Dumbledore, who was unsticking 2 lemon drops, seemed not to notice. It all gets so confusing if we keep saying you-know-who. I have never seen any reason to be frightened of saying Voldemort's name. I know you haven't, said Professor McGonagall, sounding half exasperated, half admiring, but you're different. Everyone knows that you're the only one you-know-who, all right, Voldemort was afraid of. You flatter me, said Dumbledore calmly. Voldemort had powers I will never have, only because you're too, well, noble to use them. It's lucky it's dark. I haven't blushed so much since Madame Pomfrey told me that she liked my new earmuffs. Professor McGonagall shot a sharp look at Dumbledore and said, the owls are nothing next to the rumors that are flying around. You know what everyone's saying? About why he's disappeared? About what finally stopped him? It seemed that Professor McGonagall had reached the point she was most anxious to discuss, the real reason she had been waiting on a cold, hard wall all day. For neither as a cat nor as a woman she had fixed Dumbledore with such a piercing stare as she did now. It was plain that whatever everyone was saying, she was not going to believe until Dumbledore told her it was true. Dumbledore, however, was choosing another lemon drop and did not answer. What they're saying, she pressed on, is that last night Voldemort turned up at Godric's Hollow. He went to find the Potters. The rumor is that Lily and James Potter that they're dead. Dumbledore bowed his head. Professor McGonagall gasped. Lily and James? I can't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. Oh, Albus. Dumbledore reached out and patted her on the shoulder. I know, he said heavily. Professor McGonagall's voice trembled as she went on. But that's not all. They're saying that he tried to kill the Potter's son, Harry, but he couldn't. He couldn't kill the little boy. No one knows why or how, but they're saying that when he couldn't kill Harry Potter, Voldemort's power somehow broke, and that's why he's gone. Dumbledore nodded glumly. It's true? Faltered Professor McGonagall. After all he's done, all the people he's killed, he couldn't kill a little boy? It's just astounding of all the things to stop him, but how in the name of heaven did Harry survive? We can only guess, said Dumbledore, but we may never know. Professor McGonagall pulled out a lace handkerchief and dabbed at her eyes beneath her spectacles. Dumbledore gave a great sniff as he took a golden watch out of his pocket and examined it. It was a very odd watch. It had 12 hands but no numbers. Instead, little planets were moving around the edge. It must have made sense to Dumbledore, though, because he put it back in his pocket and said, Hagrid's late. I suppose it was he who told you I'd be here, by the way. Yes, said Professor McGonagall, and I don't suppose you're going to tell me why you're here, of all places. I've come to bring Harry to his aunt and uncle. They're the only family he has left now. You can't mean that the people that live here, cried Professor McGonagall, jumping to her feet and pointing at number 4. Dumbledore, you can't. I've been watching them all day. You couldn't find two people who are less like us, and they've got this son. I saw him kicking his mother all the way up the street, screaming for sweets. Harry Potter, come and live here. It's the best place for him, said Dumbledore firmly. His aunt and uncle will be able to explain everything to him when he's older. I've written them a letter. A letter? Repeated Professor McGonagall faintly, sitting back down to the wall. Really, Dumbledore, you think that you can explain all this in a letter? These people will never understand him. He will be famous, a legend. I wouldn't be surprised if today was known as Harry Potter Day in the future. There will be books written about Harry. Every child in our world will know his name. Exactly, said Dumbledore, looking very seriously over the top of his half-moon glasses. It would be enough to turn any boy's head. Famous before he can walk and talk. Famous for something he won't even remember. Can't you see how much better off he'll be growing up away from all of that until he's ready to take it? Professor McGonagall opened her mouth and changed her mind. Swallowed and then said, Yes, you're right, of course. But how is the boy getting here, Dumbledore? She eyed his cloak suddenly as though she thought he might be hiding Harry underneath it. Hagrid's bringing him. You think it wise to trust Hagrid with something as important as this? I would trust Hagrid with my life, said Dumbledore. I'm not saying his heart isn't in the right place, said Professor McGonagall grudgingly. But you can't pretend that he's not careless. He does tend to... What was that? A low rumbling sound had broken the silence around them. It grew steadily louder as they looked up and down the street for some sign of a headlight. It swelled to a roar as they both looked up at the sky. And a huge motorcycle fell out of the air and landed on the road in front of them. If the motorcycle was huge, it was nothing to the man sitting astride it. He was almost twice as tall as a normal man and at least 5 times as wide. He looked simply too big to be allowed and so wild. Long tangles of bushy black hair and beard hid most of his face. He had hands the size of trash can lids, and his feet in leather boots were like baby dolphins. In the vast muscular arms he was holding a bundle of blankets. Hagrid, said Dumbledore, sounding relieved. At last, and where did you get the motorcycle? Borrowed it, Professor Dumbledore, sir, said the giant, climbing carefully off his motorcycle as he spoke. Young Sirius Black lent it to me. I got it from him, sir. No problems, were there? No, sir. The house was almost destroyed, but I got him out of there right before the muggles started swarming around. He fell asleep as we were flying over Bristol. Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall bent forward over the bundle of blankets. Inside, just visible, was a baby boy fast asleep. Under a tuft of jet black hair over his forehead, they could see a curiously shaped cut, like a bolt of lightning. Is that where? Whispered Professor McGonagall. Yes, said Dumbledore. He'll have that scar forever. Couldn't you do something about it, Dumbledore? Even if I could, I wouldn't. Scars come in handy. I have one myself above my left knee that is a perfect map of the London Underground. Well, give him here, Hagrid. We'd better get this over with. Dumbledore took Harry in his arms and turned towards the Dursleys' house. Could I say goodbye to him, sir? Said Hagrid. He bent his great shaggy head over Harry and gave him what must have been a very scratchy, whiskery kiss. And then suddenly Hagrid let out a howl like a wounded dog. Shh, hissed Professor McGonagall. You'll wake the muggles. Sorry, sobbed Hagrid, taking out a large spotted handkerchief and burying his face in it. But I can't stand it. Lily and James dead, and poor little Harry off to live with the muggles? Yes, it's all very sad, but get a grip on yourself, Hagrid, or we'll be found, Professor McGonagall whispered, patting Hagrid gingerly on the arm as Dumbledore swept over the low garden wall and walked toward the front door. He laid Harry gently on the doorstep, took a letter out of his cloak, and tucked it inside Harry's blankets, and then came back to the other two. For a full minute, the three of them stood and looked at the little bundle. Hagrid's shoulders shook, and Professor McGonagall blinked furiously. And the twinkling light that usually shone off Dumbledore's eye seemed to have gone out. Well, said Dumbledore finally, that's that. We've got no business staying here. We may as well go and join the celebrations. Yeah, said Hagrid in a very muffled voice. I'd best get this bike away. Good night, Professor McGonagall. Dumbledore, sir. Wiping his streaming eyes on his jacket sleeve, Hagrid swung himself onto the motorcycle and kicked the engine to life. With a roar, it rose up into the air and off into the night. I shall see you soon, I expect, Professor McGonagall, said Dumbledore, nodding to her. Professor McGonagall blew her nose in reply. Dumbledore turned and walked back down the street. On the corner, he stopped and took out the silver put-outer. He clicked it once, and 12 balls of light sped back to their street lamps so that Privet Drive glowed suddenly orange, and he could make out a tabby cat slinking around the corner at the end of the street. He could just see the bundle of blankets on the step of number 4. Good luck, Harry, he murmured. He turned on his heel and with a switch of his cloak, and he was gone. A breeze ruffled the neat hedges of Privet Drive, which lay silent and tidy under the inky sky. The very last place you would expect astounding things to happen. Harry Potter rolled over inside his blankets without waking up. One small hand closed on the letter beside him, and he slept on, not knowing he was special, not knowing he was famous, not knowing he would be woken in a few hours' time by Mrs. Dursley's scream as she opened the door to put out the milk bottles, nor that he would spend the next few weeks being prodded and pinched by his cousin Dudley. He couldn't know that at this very moment, people were meeting in secret all over the country were holding up their glasses and saying in hushed voices, "To Harry Potter, the boy who lived." That's chapter 1.
Ow, my ear!
Oh my god, why must you ear rape us?
No,
Okay, so
you said chapter 1 and all of a sudden I heard him scream. You're like,
Can I ask you a favor?
calm.
Can I
You're
ask
like,
you a favor?
chapter 1. Ah!
What the fuck?
So, what do I
Turn
say?
it off. Forrester, turn it off. Otherwise,
Just
we're gonna
tell
go
me what I
back,
said.
or we're gonna mute you again.
Okay, next, I'm just asking you to tell what I sound like.
Oh my god, you're so loud.
Can you just tell me what I sound like?
You sound, I don't know. You sound like you have a deep voice for a change.
Fire should get this.
Yeah, he probably should. He'd sound like a real man.
Yeah, fire.
Here, send me the file to it or something, whatever, Forrester.
Just type in voxel.
Voxel?
Voxel.
I like the guy on the server called Voxel,
Voxel.
but I'll type in.
Well, that was fun. We got through one whole chapter. We're like 6% through the book.
Lit.
So are we gonna end this the stream then? I'm guessing.
I
And
don't
do
know.
something else.
Yeah, probably do something
If you
else.
keep reading that, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yeah,
I actually thought it was good.
I'll put you to sleep, baby.
I'll put you to
God, all I have to do is put my headset on, mute everybody else, and just listen
I'll put you to
and read that book.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know.
What was
I'll
the
put you to sleep.
What's the website called, Forster?
I don't know.
Is it NCH Software?
Yeah. I think.
You know, reading that kind of made me tired too.
Hello.
Alrighty.
Okay, I'm muting Forster again.